Hey,
Hey, Matt.
Mark. Hello,
Hey,
everyone
everybody.
out there.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Stronger Together with Mark and Matt. What's happening, Matt? What's going on?
How much? How much? Just been busy. So, for everyone my name is Matt Castaluchio. I'm a spinal cord injured for the last 23 years. I'm joined today here with my good friend Mark. Mark, you want to just quickly introduce
Mark
yourself?
Fucarel. Mark Fucarel, Boston Marathon bombing survivor and right leg above the knee amputee. Just over 12 years being an amputee.
Mark,
So,
so since last time we spoke, what's been going on in your world?
I mean, you name it, buddy. Just got back from Arizona, from the Abilities Expo. Was out there, great time, meeting amazing people. Like always, you know how those expos are. Great
Mhm.
connections, great people, great technology, great resources. Was able to watch quite a few NFL wheelchair football games.
Nice.
Impressed, like always, very impressing. Sport, it's growing, it's getting bigger. No, it was amazing to see it, be a part of the expo. Other than that, we have. I'm working on getting my buddy Rocky Stucci Media to help out with the podcast, straightening out the Mark Networks YouTube channel, getting all that lined up, getting that together. Just working on growing the community at the Mark Network, and that's it.
Well, I
What about
listen.
you in
I see
United
all the
Spinal?
hard
What's
work
going
you're
on?
doing, buddy. I mean, and your network is growing, and it's such a important part of our community to bring everybody together to have one place to find all the resources. So I really appreciate all your hard work, man. So I mean, I took over the role as interim CEO for United Spinal, so it's a learning process. I'm excited for this opportunity. United Spinal's been actively seeking to grow our resources and services. We actually have a new chapter coming on board in Hawaii, and then we have
Nice.
three or four other new chapters, one in Maine, possible Los Angeles. We were reached contacted by someone in Alaska seeking some kind of relationship. We're not sure if it's going to be a chapter or a hospital partner. So we're excited. We're growing. Developing new programming. We have a great employment program and veterans. So I'm excited to assume the role that right now for as long as they'll allow me to hold it. And I'm excited for the organization. And then personally, just transitioning back into school with the kids, it's like crazy, man, balancing work and then getting the kids, back in the routine of school. So it's been, knock on wood, going well there. So yeah, and now I start my rugby season, so I'm excited for that too. We kick off. We could run from September to April. So, um, but I mean, one of the big areas that we've been working hard on and leads to kind of our guest today is I've been working on developing new program for our disaster relief efforts, and it's one of the programs I oversee. Mark, I don't know if you're aware of it, but we serve all our members across the United States and outside of even our membership. Anybody with a mobility impairment can reach out to us for financial support or to connect with resources and information. And I realize, this um, effort, is valuable with partnership. So I knew Red Cross and I knew FEMA. So I reached out to them and I made a great contact at Red Cross, Earl Brown, who has partnered with United Spinal to help strengthen our efforts. Our goal is to get support systems into the hands of individuals prior to a storm, then when after a storm hits, to get them the resources to regain the quality of life they had, immediate need and then long-term need. We do it through funding, and Red Cross does it through coordination of services, so it's a great partnership we have. So I wanted to invite Earl to join us, and share a little bit more about what Red Cross does and what his role is there, Mark, so that a lot of times we hear names of companies and organizations that are helping us. We don't fully understand the depth of the support systems that they provide. So I'm happy to have Earl join us today. Mark, I hope you leave today's podcast with a new appreciation for the great work that American Red Cross does. Welcome, Earl.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, so
Yes,
Earl,
thank you for being here.
yeah. Earl, first of all, where are you out of? You're out of DC area, or where are you out of?
Yes, I'm at national headquarters here in the Washington, D.C. area. I work from home 4 of the 5 days here in Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay, all right. And Red Cross services people just in the United States or worldwide?
The Red Cross is uh, divided into countries. So I work for the American Red Cross.
Okay.
Red Cross is a federation of organizations around the world. So there are each country has its own Red Cross, and then some of the Eastern countries they're called Red Crescent organizations.
Oh, interesting.
Nice.
And what's your role there?
Okay, I'm manager of partnerships and agreements, national partnerships and agreements.
Awesome.
Nice. Yes, so you said you're down in the DC area. I'll be down there doing the Marine Corps Marathon in the coming months.
Okay, we
Yeah.
support that marathon by providing relief and help relief centers and cooling centers during the marathon.
You
Awesome.
might find me in one of those.
You'll be fine.
Yes, yes. So Earl, as I was sharing a little bit earlier, that in my effort to support the community during disasters, I wanted to learn more about the Red Cross, and I truly was blown away. I didn't know the depth of your support systems, education, empowerment, and mobilization at the time of a storm. Um, so the American Red Cross, how do you guys operate? Like, how do you provide the care and support and mobilize?
Yeah, and I've got a couple of slides I wanted to share with you. So,
Perfect.
Mark, if you would bring those slides up, and what I'll do is I'll kind of talk through some of this. And this was a presentation that I made, a modified presentation that I made to several of your leadership a couple months ago. I've taken out some slides, and I didn't add any in, but I've taken out some slides. But what I'd like to do is give you a kind of overview of the Red Cross, and then you can ask me questions as we kind of go through. So if you go to the next slide, in terms of who we are the Red Cross is an organization that focuses in on uh, alleviating human suffering of all sorts. So basically, we're talking about disasters, responding to disasters. But we do a little bit more than that. We help you to prepare for the disasters so they're not as acute as it might be. But our job at the Red Cross is to focus in on preventing and alleviating human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and using the generosity of donors. Okay, if you go to the next slide.
So, Earl, I think if I remember correctly, I think the Red Cross did have a little participation in the Boston Marathon bombing and the recovery of Oz. I think you guys were a resource for my family. I was in the hospital. I was pretty much in a medical coma, and I was in the hospital for a long time, and really vaguely remember a lot of the time I was there. But I'm pretty sure the Red Cross was a part of that recovery. So, right,
Absolutely,
it did help suffering.
Usually we're supporting large civic activities like that by having cooling stations and refreshment stations and having medical support people out there in case somebody passes out or whatever. And we're usually there.
Okay. I'm saying after in the recovery, I think there was some Red Cross assistance for like gift cards and support in that sense for the families, because there was 265 people injured at that event, and there was 17 amputees, and my family was living out of a hotel. part-time and, just being near me at the hospital and then in my recovery at Spalding. And I think the Red Cross had more to do after, not just at the marathon itself with those type of stations, but I think financial assistance as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you. I'm pretty positive you guys were there.
Yeah, I am certainly, we were as well. In addition, our lines of service, there are 5 different lines of service. Disaster relief is the one that really gets the most attention. That's the one that we're most noted for. Then there's biomedical, sometimes known as blood. And that's where we collect blood and make sure that the hospitals are equipped with blood. Usually that can be supported by having blood drives. Then preparedness, health, and safety services. And that's really making sure that the community is educated and trained in the event of a disaster. One of the things that now that the summer is over, we're just wrapping up our aquatics program where we're teaching people how to swim and how to exercise water safety, because drowning kills a lot of kids during the summer. So our training is a part of that. Then there's the international services. This is where we connect with other Red Cross organizations in different countries. Okay, so we are the American Red Cross, and we connect with the Canadian Red Cross as well as the Brazilian Red Cross. So we connect internationally around the world. And then there is the services to the armed forces. We connect with services to the armed forces. If you're in the military, have been in the military, and somebody has a message, or they're trying to connect, or there's some relief activity that the family needs while someone is in the military, the Red Cross is there to assist and to support. Okay, if you go to the next slide. Okay, so wherever and wherever we're needed is where we go. So any disaster, sometimes as many as 60,000 disasters in a given year we're responding to. And if you go to the next slide, it's not just large disasters, sometimes it's small disasters as well. Okay, this slide talks about the preparedness programs. So not only responding to disasters, but also making sure that the communities are prepared for the disaster that would come. The thing that we'd like to talk to the Spinal Association about is we could use you to help us to prepare the communities for disasters. Whatever the disaster is that's indigenous to your area, you can help us to prepare the community for that. And you can prepare by helping to train members in the community. The home fire campaign, sound the alarm. This is where we put smoke detectors free of charge in people's homes. Okay, and to do that, we need teams of people to go out and to train the family and to put smoke detectors in people's homes. Okay, as well as climate hazard and prep visits for wildfires, preparing for wildfires and preparing the community for wildfires. Those are trainings that we provide to the community free of charge. And not only do we need people to help us to do the activity, we also need people to help us to train the community for those activities. Also, preparedness education. There is Be Red Cross Ready and hands-only CPR, as well as Ready Rating. Those are programs that help to prepare the community. Be Red Cross Ready is a program that trains the community for disasters that are indigenous to their area, whether it be wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. Okay, we provide training specifically for that community. As well, hands-only CPR is what do you do until the paramedics get there? What do you do until the paramedics get there? There's training provided for that, and a part of that is the defibrillation training. That's a part of that. And then there are youth program training, Prepare with Pedro, and also there's Prepare with Pedro, the animated collection. This is targeted for youth, and a lot of our organizations use it for their youth summer camps and their youth programs. They just incorporate that in and bring that in. That's a program too. We trainers for. We train you and give you the equipment, and then you go out and train the community. Okay, so those are all community preparedness programs. Any questions about any of those?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I would just, I mean, no, not really. I mean, I'd love, so where we would find that, right? We'd find that on the website.
You can find that on the website, but the best way to engage those is to connect with your local Red Cross. Each community has a local Red Cross office. To connect with that local Red Cross office, you can do that by going to www.redcross.org. Identify your local Red Cross office, call them, tell them you saw this podcast and you're interested in knowing more about whatever you hear me talking about today.
Perfect.
So Earl, I think this is probably the most important slide that there is, because there's nothing more than preparedness. Being the survivor in my situation, there are so many of us in our community that are probably watching this that have all been there. And having these skills is huge, because it's making a difference of saving someone's life. The nurse that happened to be at the Boston Marathon that put the tourniquet on my leg properly is huge. I'm a shooter. I shoot. I've been shooting since I was 7. I was on a team at a rifle club in my hometown area. And I take responsibility as a person at a gun range or as a person that carries a firearm to stop the bleeding, right? So I can render aid to someone at the gun range or somebody that happens to be shot. I think it's important, like you said, the readiness. And these, I think all these should be a part of every school, curriculum out there. I think this is amazing. I think there's not a more important slide than this.
Yeah,
because
there is a training,
save people's lives.
There is a training that we offer, which is entitled "Stop the Bleed." I didn't list it on this slide, but there is a training which is entitled "Stop the Bleed." Okay,
most of us suffer from a severe accident, a car accident, a quad motorcycle accident, right? Like you, Matt. And if you come up on a scene like that and you can render aid, that's a difference from somebody not living. I think this is a very important slide.
I think it comes down to also we all have a part in reducing the impact and preparing to reduce the impact of a natural disaster or any kind of disaster, right? We all have a role, whether you're an individual in the community, educating and empowering yourself to know what resources are out there, who your local Red Cross, the no armed or one armed hands only CPR program, right? I mean, these are things that we all can do as individuals of the community to prepare us to be those, to help support the efforts at the time of a disaster or thing. So I love it. I agree with you, Mark. I think this is very valuable information. Preparing ahead of time reduces the impact of any kind of event.
Yeah, and one of the things I would encourage is not only to look at taking the course, but as you take the course, look at it in terms of, could I deliver this course in the community as well? Okay, because we need volunteers to help us to provide the training outward in the community.
Excellent.
I love it. Love it.
If you could go to the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just big disasters. It's a sundry of different things. It's in your community, a lot of things happen. You could lose the power, you could lose water. So things happen in the community. The Red Cross is that agent that really kind of pulls other organizations together and say, how do we respond to this disaster in our community? Okay, so it's not just the big disasters. An individual house fire is a disaster to just that family, okay, or an apartment fire. So anything that has to do with alleviating suffering in your community, consider joining up and participating and supporting the Red Cross in that. And when I say support, we're not looking for your dollars. We're just looking to have some bodies there to absolutely help us to carry out the objectives.
And Earl, you mentioned the local offices. If someone was trying to develop or learn more about developing an evacuation plan for themselves, can they reach out to the local office to get advice and tips and tricks on how to do that?
Absolutely. The training, be Red Cross ready to not just
Mhm.
get yourself trained, but also to find out where that class is being offered in your community and to get other people in that class as well. Be Red Cross ready. And if you've got a group of people in your church or in your civic organization, you say, you know what, it'll be nice to get all of them together and hear this training. Call your Red Cross office and say, I'd like to schedule someone to come out and provide Be Red Cross ready to this group during this time.
Perfect.
Free. Okay, going to the next slide. Our WIP part, this is the work that we do, and we would love to have you to work with us in it. In your wheelchairs, you can still support us and help us to do this. Okay, and one of the things that does is that helps us to understand the accessibility of our programs. If you show up as a volunteer, you not only help the community, but you're helping the Red Cross as well to make sure that all of our programs are accessible, because we would welcome that feedback as you go through. So community preparedness training, with which we've already talked about. Sheltering is a part of this when there's a disaster and people have to be put up in shelters. We would love to have you to help to be a shelter worker, okay, to come and help us with that. Food and meal distribution, relief supplies, health-related aids, emergency first aid, as well as other health-related aids, emotional support, other assistance with resources for clothing, medicine, and other basic essentials, and then recovery planning following the disaster. There's a QR code that's there. That QR code is unique to the Spinal Association. If you use that and sign up as a volunteer, it will keep all of the Spinal Association's people together. So we'll be able to give your leadership a report on who's volunteering, where they are, what the organization is doing with the Red Cross. Okay, you'll see that QR code a little bit later in the presentation as well. If you could go to the next slide. These are just some of the programs that are available. This Be Red Cross Ready is one of the ways that we prepare the community for the disaster that's endemic to that community. Be Red Cross Ready has existed for many years as preparedness presentation, safety checklists, and booklets, regional development programs, Red Cross org, and PrEP. Okay, so all of that's getting the community ready, not only to get the community ready, but also to volunteer to support and to deliver that training in the community, something that we're looking for. If you could go to the next slide. This next slide is talking about Ready Rating. Ready Rating helps to get organizations and churches ready for a disaster. What are the emergency plans for your church? What are the emergency plans for your business? What do you do if the lights go out? What do you do if there's a flood announced? Ready Rating is a free program to help businesses and organizations prepare for disasters. It's done by doing an assessment of your organization, and it gives you a detailed plan as to what needs to be done in order to make sure that you're ready for whatever is going to happen in your area. This program is free of charge as well. Okay, but that's the Ready Rating program. You go to the next slide. Hands-only CPR, we've talked about already. And hands-only CPR can be done virtually now as well. But this is a program that teaches untrained bystanders how to perform hands-only CPR in a 30-minute presentation. You too can schedule this for your church or for your civic organization, or at your community center or wherever, by connecting with your local Red Cross. Okay, if you go to the next slide. Volunteers can participate in a number of different ways, and as individuals, as teams, or as DAT team members. A DAT team are those teams that respond to to emergencies at midnight. Those are the house fire at midnight. Somebody needs to be there to help the family to get situated. They've lost everything and they need to be put on the road to recovery, to make sure that they get a hotel room, to make sure that they have a place to sleep and that they have a plan for how to recover following a house fire. Okay, that's what a DAP team member does pretty much. So disaster responders, shelter workers, case managers, food service workers, IRV drivers, as well as spiritual care workers are some of the volunteer opportunities that we have, and we would love to have your membership to be a part of. If you go to the next slide, use of facilities. If you've got a building, if your church has a building that can be used for a shelter, for a reception center, as a feeding site, a warming or cooling site, or about a bulk distribution center, if we would love to work with you on making that facility available and accessible in case of a community emergency. Okay, it's always better when there's an emergency in the community that we keep people in their communities, okay, because it's a short distance for them to drive, as opposed to trying to drive across town to get to the Red Cross office or to a building that they're not familiar with. If there's a church or an organization building down the street that we can use as a reception center or something, we would love to work with you on using that building, using that facility. If you go to the next slide, shelter residents transition. But this is when people are in the shelter, we have to develop a plan to get them out of the shelter and back into a viable living situation. So if they experience a house fire, they go into the shelter. Then there's a shelter residence transition plan, and that's how do we move them from the shelter into an apartment or into a house following a disaster. And that's not only for individual disasters, but that's for the big disasters as well. Okay. Sometimes we may have 1,000 people in a shelter that need to find housing following a storm. Okay, if you go to the next slide, this slide talks about an area that's very near and dear to my heart, and this is extreme heat. We kind of dodged the bullet, but we're not quite out of the extreme heat season yet. But extreme heat strikes because of climate change. Extreme heat is something that we're really facing now, and this is a growing concern. So what we do with extreme heat is to make sure that people have a place to go when the temperatures hit a certain level. Okay, this is done basically at the local level. This is especially acute for senior citizens. Senior citizens, if they're experiencing extreme heat, if their air conditioning go out, or in some cases there are states where there is no requirement to provide air conditioning with rental units. So if they're living in that situation and we go through extreme heat period, we need to get people into cooling centers, not only cooling centers, but cooling shelters. Cooling shelters is a place where they will sleep at night, especially senior citizens, because to have a center for the day and then send them back home to a hot place at night is really defeating the purpose. And chances are, if they go back at night, they're not going to come back the next day. So what we're doing is we're trying to identify organizations, places, and people that will provide cooling centers and cooling shelters during extreme heat. Okay, if you go to the next slide, there's some things. Shelter kits is one of the things that the Red Cross can provide, and we'll agree to support. Partners can utilize their own facilities. They're not going to be Red Cross shelters, and partners are empowered to decide when to open them and when to close them. We'll provide the support as well. We can provide the training, our shelter training, to people that want to open, or organizations that want to open these cooling shelters and cooling centers. Okay, and if we go to the next slide, and then blood programs, blood drives across the nation. There's always an acute need for blood, and sometimes we hit an emergency situation. We would love to have you to sponsor or support or participate in a local blood drive in your area. Okay, and if you go to the next slide. And most importantly, downloading the new emergency app to prepare for climate-related hazards. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, all of that. There's an app that will help you with alerts. It'll tell you where the centers are. It'll connect you to what's going on in your area. And if you have relatives living in another area, you want to make sure that you keep up with them, then you can also indicate that in this emergency app. We recommend this emergency app for everybody, that you get it on your phone. It'll tell you when a tornado is coming, when a flash flood is imminent, when extreme weather is headed your way. And it also helps you with what to do after the disaster or after the extreme weather hits. Okay, you can get this app. There's a link there on the bottom. We encourage you to get this, or you can just type that into your phone or go to the App Store and get the Red Cross Emergency app, free of charge. Okay, and if you go to the next slide, then this just talks a little bit more about.
I'm downloading that app myself right now while we're on the phone, because I'll forget.
This one is Preparedness in Your Pocket. And you can see across the little banner there, it has all the different types of emergencies that this helps you with. Okay, as well, it gives you that alert when something's happening in your area. And if you, like I said, if you've got loved ones in another area, it'll give you the warning for them as well. So that, because a lot of times you can just call them and say, hey, I don't know if you know it or not, but there's a tornado coming your way, and you need to be prepared for it. Okay, so if you go to the next slide, and this is how we're organized. We're organized by divisions and regions, and this is the map of the divisions and the regions. This is just for your information. There's a local Red Cross coverage for everybody in the United States. So you have a local Red Cross. You just need to know who that local Red Cross is. Okay. And if you go to the next slide, this is our partner list, and we refer to this as a blue sheet. This is how we organize partners in terms of what competencies they bring to the table for us. So if you are in the need of someone to do, let me pick one, I won't use disaster casework, I'll just do access and functional needs. We have partners, of which you're one now, that when there's access and functional needs, we will come to you or give you a call. If somebody gives us a call, we'll make that referral to them. If down here there's housing, we have partners that deal in housing. 211 is one of our latest acquisitions, one of our latest connections, the United Way and 211. So we're working closely with them as well. But we have contacts in all of these areas. We have partners that are working in all these areas to make the connection, to make sure that life is bearable and that no one is suffering unnecessarily. Okay. And if you go to the next slide.
Earl, just one comment about the housing piece. One of the other partners you might want to look at and talk with is Airbnb, because they've been supportive of our efforts to try to find temporary housing for some people that are displaced.
Yeah. Airbnb, we've been working with Airbnb and the United Way. There's been kind of a three-way partnership with Airbnb and the United Way, especially during the fires in Los Angeles just recently. So yeah, we've been working with them, and so any other partners that you've got that work in the housing space, we're always interested in talking to them.
Perfect.
Okay, but Rebuild Together, as well as Habitat for Humanity, and I would also recommend to connect is ACRO, which is the Association of Rural Independent Living. They're an organization that focuses on housing, especially for people in wheelchairs.
Okay.
And if you go to my last slide, Okay, and we do all of this by having a Red Cross volunteer management system. United Spinal Association can use the Red Cross volunteer management system, and this will show you everybody that volunteers from this organization in one spot. So at any given time, you can see which states and which locations are working with their Red Cross, okay, and participating. And there's the QR code that's unique to this organization. And if you go to the next slide, it should say thank you very much. And that is the end.
I think that's after this one.
Yes, and this is my contact information, which you can feel free to reach out to me, and I will get, if you can't get connected, and I'll get you connected.
Well, great information, Earl. It's great for members in the community knowing how we can join together to be a united force and support the efforts of Red Cross through volunteering, but also to utilize Red Cross in the time of need if it impacts ourselves.
Yeah, I think I didn't even understand that everything that you guys offered. I mean, I'm 47 next week. And I didn't even understand all the resources that you guys had. So I'm glad, Matt, that you made the suggestion to have Earl on to talk about it, because I know it was fresh in your mind with your recent connection and in collaboration with Red Cross, American Red Cross. It's amazing. I'm telling you, I'm downloading the weather app right now. I travel my RV all across the country. I have a house in Texas here, and I have a place up in Massachusetts. And my wife, Earl, I don't know if you know, but my wife was born with no arms and no legs. And now I'm in a wheelchair. So obviously natural disasters, which we've had many down here in Texas this year, is a very big concern of ours, and I've been fortunate enough to financially be supported by the great and goodness of so many people, where I'm planning on building a very stable house for the situation that we're in down here with the potential of tornadoes and flooding and different stuff. I'm preparing for that. I'm building a full custom house in the near future, once I sell my house up in Massachusetts, to be prepared for these storms. Because for people with disabilities, it's a big concern for us, to move quick. We don't always move quick. And once you move, there are a lot of things here at our house that we won't be able to bring with us, and it'll make life really challenging. So I'm lucky to be in one of the fortunate situations where I might be able to prepare a little more than others. So I'm grateful for the Red Cross and all your efforts that you're putting in, and Matt, what you're doing to bring awareness and be a part of this great, amazing organization. And it's great, Earl, to put a face, with somebody that, speaking with you prior to coming here live to record this podcast, your passion and your motivation behind doing what you're doing it always, you hear Red Cross, but you always don't put a face with Red Cross, and not saying you're the face of the Red Cross, but you're a part of the Red Cross. You're an important part of the Red Cross, doing amazing things. And I think it's great for people to see people like you taking the time out of your day to, just to do something like this to help them, you're selfish,
And Mark, one of the things I challenge you to do too is to take that Be Red Cross Ready training and then provide us some feedback as to how we can make it even better for people in the Spinal Association.
All right.
Because I think, the Red Cross is not perfect, and I think there's some things that we can do better. But we can do better, stronger together. We can do it better when you give us the feedback and say, hey, have you considered this or saying it this way to make sure that we're inclusive of everybody?
One of the things, Earl, I would hope to do this year is to create a committee with brings partners, yourself, other representative big organizations, but also our chapters around the country. As you know, we have like 35 chapters together. And I would like to mobilize our chapters. They can look at your Be Ready programming. And we can, we also have a Be Ready as well that we can combine and strengthen, and you can get
Yes.
feedback from our community. One of the things I realized is, you don't realize how impactful a storm can be until you're immersed in it. Sandy hit Long Island, and I live probably an hour and a half, probably, yeah, an hour and a half away from Long Island, an hour. But my area was impacted. We lost power, we lost everything. And, you would think after 23 years being in the chair and, running programs, I would know better, but I was not prepared. And all of a sudden, I was displaced. I had no power in my house, had no plan, had no idea, where I was going to go. Um, Fortunately, I had enough supplies on hand, but if I did not have a surplus of supplies, I really would, because I wasn't getting a new shipment because UPS wasn't able to deliver. There's so many factors of a person with a disability's life that is impacted during the storm. And through like a Be Ready programming, you can create a plan. So you have something in place. You're not scrambling to put pieces together. And that impact is not as significant on your life. But it starts with the community taking the steps, starts with the individual out there that's hearing this to mobilize and say, you know what, I got to do something. Whether it's a CPR class or reaching out to Red Cross and saying, I want to volunteer. What do I got to do? But empowering our community so that we don't have the fires in California displace so many people. And there's still people, struggling to recover. Maui was the same. You guys were present on Maui. You guys were in California, boots on the ground. But, ahead of time, people could have been better prepared. And also training through your Be Ready, they can train the emergency management teams in their area. So when a mandatory evacuation takes place, those teams know what to do, what steps to take, what to consider with someone with mobility that may be different than the average person. So thank you for
Matt,
all you do, by the way.
Yeah.
Matt,
Thank you all. This is, I'm really looking forward to the partnership and things that we can
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Matt,
What's
how
up?
many times do I say, we can't rely on others. So as a community of people with
Mhm.
disabilities and our caretakers, we need to be involved, right? Earl and the Red Cross can't help us if we don't tell them how to help
Yeah.
us, because they
Exactly.
don't know our struggles. They can't know everything. Like Earl said,
Mhm.
we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And in the amputee community, all the time, people say, "Oh, my socket's horrible; it doesn't fit." And it's usually not the prosthetist's fault. It's the amputee not communicating properly to tell that prosthetist what's going on with his socket. Just like Matt, like you said, luckily you had some stuff to get through that situation.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. And Earl,
No.
I think this is a great thing for the Red Cross, but our community and people with our disabilities need to contact our local Red Cross and say, hey, I'm a person, I'm in a wheelchair and I live at this address. And if there is a storm, I'm going to need help. And this is how you can help me. We need to communicate that. And if you have certain catheters you use or certain medications you use, make that list and give that to the Red Cross and see if they can reach out to certain people and have those medications on file. They'll have those catheters at a location where there would be a storm shelter for your community, especially if you endure these kind of situations often in your area. So I highly encourage anybody watching this, if you have a disability, please reach out to your local Red Cross. Please communicate to them what you need so they can work on getting it on hand for you in case of an emergency. I mean, Earl, I don't think there'd ever be a fight or a pushback if I came to you or Matt came to your local Red Cross and said, I need this type of catheter. And if this is the company that supplies them for me, I bet the house up, right? That if you called that catheter company and said, hey, we have 3 people in our area that need catheters, can we just stockpile some extras in a closet somewhere, right? I don't think there'd be a problem with that. But I just think our community needs to speak up.
Yeah, I mean, like in something like that, like if you need, Earl has partners, so he'd reach out to like United Spinal and say,
Yeah,
"Hey guys, I have this mobility impaired person I need." That's the beauty of like Red Cross, is that they may not have the immediate answer, but they have a partner out in the community that can help assist, right? So it's like the
exactly.
housing piece, the catheter piece, your prosthetist. I was evacuating, my prosthetic got damaged, right? Yeah, I don't know, or I don't have a charging wire for the robotic, right? Because a lot of people
Yeah,
will
that's me.
evacuate in a rush and forget simple things like that. So contacting your Red Cross and say, look, I have this need. I'm in this. Then Earl's team, wherever the regional person is, they would reach out to one of their partners that's appropriate, and they would address. That's the beauty of this relationship,
Exactly.
and you know, but I mean, one of the things, Mark, you touched on was key, is like, it starts with us. You can't wait until you're hit, and you can't sit back and criticize an organization for not helping at the time after an injury, because or
Mhm.
after an evacuation or something else, if you're not trying to make a change up front, right? If you're not involved in a solution, nothing's going to change, right? So our community needs to connect with our local Red Cross, create training sessions, bring awareness. Whether you're an amputee, I invite amputees, spinal cord, CP, everybody, every disability has similarities, but then we also have some unique stuff. Get all together, create a dynamic training of in your area. Listen, this is what we need. Have the emergency management team there, have others, have people from our community there. And that's how things, get stronger and more effective.
Right. I couldn't have said it better myself, Matt. Yeah, take the ownership for it, take the training, and then say, you know what, I want to deliver it. I want to modify this training. I want to deliver it in my community to this group of people.
Yeah. That's one of the things. I know, Earl, you had asked me to do it, and it's on my to-do list, but I want to connect you with our chapters,
Yeah.
right? Especially the ones that are in the heavily hit areas, so that we can mobilize.
Yeah.
And I will prioritize. It's been a little crazy the last couple of weeks, but
Yeah, yeah, and
I'm
what
mobilized.
that'll do is that'll notify the local Red Cross that when they're making their plans to evacuate or to respond to a disaster, that there's a group of people that they need to keep in their mind to keep in mind when they're developing those local plans. Okay, because that'll make things easier following a disaster.
Yep, and they won't be able to plan if us as a community doesn't tell them that we're here
Yeah.
and what we need. Like
Bingo.
it always, I say it so much. It starts with us doing something for ourselves, not relying on everybody to understand, to know, and do it
Yeah.
for us. Like we're more than capable of doing it. Like,
Yeah.
and we're more than capable of being involved. And it doesn't take a lot. It's a very minimal effort just to
Yeah.
give some feedback and information.
And Mark,
So,
like even people in the Massachusetts area, you think I'm not in the southern areas that are getting hit by hurricane, but you never know. Like what Earl had pointed out, a tree falling on your house, a power line down in your neighborhood could
all the
disrupt
time.
your ability to remain in your home. And if you're
Yeah,
not prepared,
just the simplest thing of the water system going down in your location.
yeah,
Okay, there are things in Be Red Cross Ready, which is, and I didn't know this until I started working with the Red Cross. Every household should have at least 3 days of water somewhere. You should have it. Be ready to sustain yourself with at least 3 days worth of water in your house.
that's good point. Good tip. I
Okay.
didn't even that. I don't think I got 3 days worth of water in my house right now, but
Yeah, 3 days
I
worth of water. What I do, those little jugs that you get at the grocery store when you buy
yeah,
iced tea or lemon, you just take those, you fill it with water, you put it in the garage. You say, okay, let me start stockpiling this water because
yeah.
you
Earl,
need.
if you see my bottom shelf, like the floor of my pantry, and if you saw my garage, I got about 3 months of water probably.
There you go. Yeah. So we'll know whose house to come to for water.
There you
The water goes
go.
down.
I mean,
We'll
yeah.
see.
I mean, you're right. I mean, those are little tips that people need to consider, right? Ahead of time. It's a simple thing you can do so that you're not scrambling water outages. We just had a power outage up the road. I never had power. I've been in this house for 14 years. Suddenly the power went out one night because there was an issue with a Con Ed line or something. You don't expect it. Well, I lost heat. I lost everything else, air conditioning. We didn't have any, ability to manage our food or anything else. And I wasn't prepared because we hadn't dealt with that. But if I had the idea in the back of my head of this is what I'm going to do in the case of this, a small generator or something, it goes a long way to make a situation less stressful.
Yeah, it's little things you could do. I don't buy a house without a fireplace. I just don't. I have, my house in North, I got 2 fireplaces. This one, I have 1. I have, maybe it's my anxiety, but I've always been, someone that's camped, gone outdoors, been, involved in different things. And I'm just a person that pays attention, and I see potential problems with everything, unfortunately. And I have wood out back. I don't burn wood. I just have wood just in case. I know my furniture's wood, things you can burn. And like you said, 3 months of water, you're talking about boiling water, drinking water, cooking with water, if you can, if you have fire. But like one of the most important things is like flushing a toilet, right? You need that water to fill your tank to flush your toilet when the water goes down. I mean, that's why I'm telling you, I got it in my garage. I got it in my, my pantry. And I don't mean like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gallons. I'm talking like 30 gallons at least, that I have of water just to start. But I also have means of water resources not far from me. So I have that in mind. I always plan an where am I going to go for this? Where am I going to go for that? I have, I have the canned food, right? Like that doesn't go bad, doesn't need to be refrigerated. There's different things you need to have that have long, stable shelf lives that you should have. And I have that. I have a whole closet dedicated to that for me and my wife, because I have to plan, and I encourage my community, our community, Matt, to be prepared a little bit, not to be relying on everybody, be relying on yourself. It's inexpensive. I go to the Dollar Tree, $1.25, but you're better off going to your grocery store. You can buy, cans of certain stuff that has a long, stable shelf life, and you cycle it out. Use it at a time when when you need it, and replace it. Just a few something to be prepared. And the biggest thing, Earl, is the Red Cross has been around a long time. There's a lot of money and a lot of time and efforts of so many sunk into that organization. We need to utilize that organization. We need to do it by talking to them. Communication in the community is the key to everything. And I appreciate you, Earl. Is there any last things you want to end on?
We're not charging.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, I'm looking forward to growing the relationship. I'm looking forward to the relationship. And if you all need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, I want to make sure that you're up on Mark's app, the Mark Network app, so that Red Cross is listed there as a resource, and I'll make that happen.
Okay.
I value the partnership United Spinal has with Red Cross, and I look to strengthen that through education and empowerment of our community. So thank you very much, Earl, for joining us today, taking time out of your busy schedule. And listen, Mark, you have any closing remarks?
No, I just want to thank everybody for being here, and definitely go to the redcross.org, find your local Red Cross, get involved, take some of these courses. And number one thing is give them feedback. Please help them get better at what they do so they can help us. It's, I just want to thank everybody for watching. Check us out, the Mark Network. It's free. It's in the Apple and Google Play Store, just like the Red Cross app. We're all there. United Spinal. Join United Spinal. Please go to their website and join and become a member of their mailing list, their email.
Yeah.
Anything you got, Matt?
No, nothing really too much, but yeah, like Mark said, it just takes a minute of your time to connect with the community and to empower yourself. It's all about empowering oneself to be, a strong member of the community. It will help strengthen not only your ability to live a full life, but also the community's ability to continue to support our efforts. So guys, in 2 weeks, we will have representatives from Help Hope Live. They are a organization that is focused on helping us to bridge that gap between financial need and resources, and they have creative ways to help us to offset those expenses that are not covered by insurance or other means. So I hope you guys will join us in 2 weeks. Earl, thank you very much, and have a good rest of the day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.